the most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real-world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Welcome once again, race fans, here tonight to the Turn 3 Racing Network. Tonight on tap for you once again, the RFC NEXTGEN Light Electric Company ARC Menards K&N Series live from Darlington. Man, Cody, this is going to be a crazy night for sure. You were out there in the car a little bit earlier. Pretty crazy around this track, huh?
Yeah, Dave, it is. This is one of my favorite places on the schedule, simply because tonight, Dave, you're not only going to see these 26 drivers battle each other, you're going to see the track be the biggest opponent they face all night long. These cars are going to be sliding around. They're all going to be wanting tires. Every single time the caution comes out, you're going to see these drivers on pit road looking for tires. The unique part about this track, Dave, is we've come here numerous times, is this track on one end is built like a super speedway. On the opposite end, it's built like a short track, and that's what makes things exciting here at the original super speedway, Darlington Raceway.
Absolutely, and another thing going to make it a little bit more interesting out there, track temperature, air temperature out there, looking pretty good, about 80 degrees, just a little bit under it, as a matter of fact. Out there, track just a little bit over 81 degrees on the track temperature. Look for that to more than likely go up as the night continues and these drivers put down the rubber on this track. And Cody, we've noticed here in this happy hour that the driver's not really going up there and flirting with that outside wall, staying away from getting that famed Darlington stripe here.
Yeah, and I had a chance to take the Turn 3 cutout car off, and I may not get to take it out anymore the rest of the year, Dave, because I went up there and I got my own stripe. The thing is with these cars, the wall is kind of like a magnet. Once you get into the wall, you know, you're riding that wall. All kinds of damage, all kinds of carnage could be done to the right side of that race car, because once you get into the wall, you're carrying so much speed you can't come off of it. So if you're going to hit it, you better hit it and get away from it, because the impact of the wall here will just suck that race car in. And Dave, you know, if you bang your car up early here at Darlington, you are going to have a long night, because this place is physical without any damage.
That it is. They don't call it the Lady in Black for no reason. And as you already said, you might want to just bounce it off the wall a little bit more than scraping the wall. You get stuck up there. It can be troublesome to get off, to say the least. But these walls have been known to tear up a few race cars, even with light bumps. So as you already said there, I mean, you don't want to find yourself in trouble early here, but this is also a track that it's very hard to lay back on. It's almost like the track, the way it's laid out, the way the turns are, you almost have to attack the entry a little bit in turn 1. And you got to be a little bit easier in turn 3, but aggressive on the exit. So very demanding racetrack.
Yeah, and Dave, the surface here is very wide. You look at the racetrack, you think, man, if you go to the wall all the way to that yellow line down in the bottom of 1 and 2, you think, man, there's a lot of surface here. But you're only going to see these race cars go from that dotted white line to that outside wall. Too wide through the turns here in 1 and 2, you can manage. 2 wide in 3 and 4, more than likely you're using the other 4 tires on the car to your outside to your advantage, because it's just simply that difficult. It's hard to get around this place single file, let alone double file, which means we're going to pay attention to those restarts tonight. And Dave, something else that's going to be very important, track position. I feel like you're going to see drivers more so than anywhere else we've seen so far this year. I think getting out front at this race tonight could be key. And with Katie Osmond winning 2 of the last 3 races, that's the guy they don't want out front this weekend.
And speaking of those wins by Katie Osmond, take a look at your point standings coming in to tonight's race, round number 14 here in season number 2 of the RFC Next Gen Light Electric Company ARCA Menards K&N Series. Has a comfortable 90-plus point lead over the 77 of Lance Yancey. There you see Brian Maskell Jr., last year's season champion, sitting in third. Roy Hyde right there in fourth. Tyler Hilton rounding out the top 5. The 80 of Brian Littleton making a return to the Sunday night series. Has had a great season so far, Cody. Right there in 6th place, knocking on the door of the top 5. And a lot of other heavy hitters inside the top 10. A little further out than what you might expect them, like that 49 of Troy Radford.
Yeah, Dave, and we talked about in the prior weeks, Katie Osmond has reached that part of the year where he's points racing. Well, last week, he maxed out points by winning the race, and if he continues to do that in the, counting tonight, the 7 races we've got left, that points lead may not be catchable. But I tell you what, there's a guy right now that I feel like that has gotten hungry over the last few weeks, and that is Brian Maskell Jr. He slowly started to creep up into the top 3. Well, he's there now. He's only 1 point out of the 2nd spot. I feel like a lot of pressure going the rest of the way. We're going to go to Irwindale next week, the Roval at Charlotte, Myrtle Beach here in the next few weeks. I feel like if he can push the limit, he could be the guy that runs down KD, but it's going to take some bad luck from that machine.
Yeah, it's going to take some bad luck at a KD if anybody's going to catch him, really. A 90, I believe it's somewhere right at about 98 points separates himself from Lance Yancey there. But I think he's going to have trouble, but if you look over the course of the season, trouble is just not something that 88 machine has, so it's going to be very, very hard to catch him.
Yeah, and it's true. He's got 11 starts and 11 top 10s. He's only finished outside of the top 5 one time. And then you throw in the 2 wins out of those 10 top 5s. I mean, consistency is huge as these drivers are getting ready to line up. Dave, it's time to go qualifying here at Darlington.
Qualifying here tonight for the Conserve Georgia Pecan Amber Ale 113 here from Darlington International Speedway. I believe it's just Darlington Speedway. Which one is it there, Cody? Correct me.
Raceway.
Is it Raceway? Speedway? Raceway? I don't go there anyway. Yeah, I don't know. Never mind. I'll just hush.
Listen, my wife will explain to everybody out there that Darlington has the best hot dogs on the NASCAR circuit. They call them Darlington dogs.
I don't know if I even want to ask the story behind this one, so we're gonna jump out there with the 4 of Michael Massengill as he starts his first time lap. Oh, Lord help us.
Out there, Dave. And you know, this is a guy that we've seen a lot of good spurts from Michael. He's just not been able to, as I like to say, cash in on some of these good runs. We've seen him up front a couple of times, at least in the top 10, just not able to capitalize so far this season as he puts that 4 car into the wall there in turn 3 and 4.
Yeah, and that's not something that you're really going to want to do. He looks like he's going to go ahead and continue this lap on out to go ahead and try to maybe recover all he can here on his 2nd time lap. Katie Osmond sitting on top of the speed charts right now with a 28.49. We'll see if anybody has anything for him. A 28.58 for Brian Snare. Tyler Hilton sitting in 3rd. Eric Blount now crossing the line to take 4th.
Yeah, and Brian Snare's another driver, Dave. We've talked about him a couple of times. I know I felt like he already has a win this year, and he had that earlier this year at Rockingham. I felt like he had another win in the bag, and things didn't work out his way earlier this season. He's another driver to watch. He's jetting just outside of the top 5 in points as he goes 2nd quick. He was quickest in practice behind Osmond, so we'll see how things shape out. as Dave looks like Brian Littleton, he's jumped into the top 3 with a 28.60.
Yeah, Littleton into the top 3 with a 28.60. Gonna take a look now with the 33 of Brian Mescal Jr. crossing the line for the first time here. He's gonna jump onto the speed charts. Well, let's see, where's he go? Ooh, Littleton up to second, and Mescal Jr. sideways. Coming through 1 and 2. Oh my goodness, gonna lock it down into the inside wall. He's gonna have to go down pit lane, get a new car, so we'll jump on board now with the one of Dustin Ping as he heads down into turn number 3.
Yeah, Dave, that's something you'd better watch at this racetrack. You know, very similar. We talked before we went on the air. This track's kind of like Darlington, or kind of like Dover, I should say.
I hope it's like Darlington. I sure hope.
You know, when you race at Dover, you come up out of the turn, so it's kind of like you're coming up to another layer. Well, when you come out of turn 2, it's like you're coming out of a hole, and the car just totally lifts up in the air and sets back down. So that's something to keep an eye on when these race cars are coming off turn 2, especially if they're too wide. They're going to move a lot on the racetrack, as new fastest qualifier Thomas Light takes that Light Electric Company 98 to the point. He goes 28.48.
Yeah, your series title sponsor not playing around here tonight. 98 of Thomas Light putting it on top of the speed charts, as you said, 28.48, just 100th ahead of Katie Osmond. Osmond not going to get that pole as Troy Radford down into 3 and 4. Let's see what the 49 has. Only 13th on his first time lap here, Cody. He's going to have to make up a lot of ground.
Yeah, that's going to put him right in the thick of the whole mess going into turn 1. So not exactly where Radford wanted to be on the first crack at is right now. He is at the bottom of the race drivers that have hit the track, as it looks like Roy Hyde is making his traditional backwards lap diving into turn 1.
Oh, my. So let's go ahead out there. There you see it. There you have it. Roy Hyde once again. Each and every week, folks. There you see it. Qualifying backwards.
That has to be one of the most unique things anybody gets to see all year, is to see one of these machines go backwards. And I was trying to zone in and see how quick he actually is going in reverse.
Well, right now it looks like Speed Chart's telling us, let's see if we can't get his dashboard telemetry going up. There it goes. Looks like he's somewhere right around the 79 to 80, 81, fluctuating through the corner there. So still, running interstate speed backwards. Not bad.
No, not bad at all. And to do it here is pretty tough. So congratulations to Roy Hyde. He's on a streak now, and it's all in reverse.
Well, I don't know if that's good now that you say it that way. Looks like we've got about 14 drivers turning in their time lapse. We've got, looks like maybe 10 drivers down there on pit road. Cody not yet putting in a time lap. Travis Smith not putting in a time lap. Chuck Mobley, Damon Cox, Brian Kaufman, Brian Mescal Jr. You've seen him spin on his up to speed lap. He's yet to put in a time lap. Rick Reinert, Travis Pryor, all those drivers yet to hit the track as we work halfway through the qualifying session here tonight in the Conserve Georgia Pecan Amber Ale 113 here from Darlington Raceway.
Yeah, Dave, and we want to give a shout out to all the folks watching on the YouTube channel. Thank you so much for checking out the Turn 3 Racing Network. We are at one of the most famous, most iconic racetracks on the planet. It is the Darlington Raceway with the Light Electric Company, ARCA Menards, K&N Series. We appreciate you joining us. 7 races, Dave, 7 races until we get ready to claim a champion. Those racetracks, wow, you want to talk about a crazy schedule. Darlington, Irwindale, Charlotte Roval, Myrtle Beach, Phoenix, Texas, and Kansas. None of these tracks on the schedule resemble each other, including this one here tonight.
Yeah, all very different tracks, and all gonna have to be driven differently, obviously because they're different tracks, but with a different mentality and mindset. Who's gonna challenge Katie Osmond here? I mean, honestly, let's just go ahead and say it outright, Cody. You gotta beat him in these last 7 races. It doesn't matter if he finishes 3rd or 4th or 5th, or you can't let him win. You've got to go out there and maximize your points if you're going to have any shot. So from here on out, those drivers in the top 5 in the point standings, man, it's got to be hammered down. checkers or wreckers, really, all or nothing mentality for him. If you ask me, you got to do it smart. But I mean, that's what it's gonna take.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And you're going to have to race him aggressively. You know, that's something we haven't seen a lot. When KD gets around other drivers, a lot of times you'll kind of see folks be cautious with KD. You're going to have to rub fenders with him. You're going to have to not wreck him. I'm not saying go out and take him out, but you've got to race with him. You got to put some pressure on that machine.
Yeah, absolutely. And with about 7.5 minutes into this 10-minute qualifying session, we're going to step away for a brief commercial break, head down trackside for our national anthem. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back with all your green flag action live here from the Turn 3 Racing Network.
Growing up as a kid in Oklahoma, where I'm from, the Chili Bowl is the biggest race that we have. The Chili Bowl has kind of been my favorite race of the year. Growing up a dirt racer in Oklahoma, that's kind of the holy grail.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly wailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
You know what that means? It's race time once again here on the Turn 3 Racing Network. Starting grid behind your Chevy Silverado Pace truck looks a little something like this for tonight's Conserve Georgia Pecan Amber Ale 113 here from Darlington Raceway. Starting inside row number 1, second pole of the season, the 98 of Thomas Light, just to his outside, the 88 of KD Osmond. Row number 2, The 80 of Brian Littleton, followed by the 45 of Brian Snare. Bringing up row number 3, Eric Blunt, Tyler Hilton. 84 of Chris Medford going to line up inside row number 4 to his outside. The 48 of Jimmy Hetrick. Row number 5, the 24 of Matthew McMeekin, and rounding out your top 10, the 1 of Dustin Ping.
Looking into row number 6, it'll be Lance Yancey, second in points in the 11th spot. Michael Masengale in the 12th spot in his number 4. Troy Radford's going to roll off 13th in his 49 machine with the 00 of Roy Hyde 14th. Travis Smith makes his start in the 15th spot in number 9. In third place in points, Brian Mescal Jr. rolls off 16th in his 33. Rick Reiner in the 19 machine, he's off 17th. Damon Cox in the 57 will roll off 18th. Travis Pryor in the 02 19th. And shotgun on the field, well, in the 20th spot is Chuck Mobley.
Starting inside row number 11, the 83 of Brandon Medford to his outside, the 34 of Doug Wasaki. Row number 12, the 22 of Cody Terry, and the 7 of Brian Kaufman. Rounding out the field, Melvin Young and Travis Arthur. Pace truck down and away. We're set to go green flag racing for the first time here tonight. My goodness, can't wait to fire things off here in the Conserve Georgia Pecan Amber Ale 113. Green flag is out on the gas. Thomas Light has the inside. Katie Osmond just to his outside. Looks like the inside line's the place to be heading into turn number 1. Brian Littleton right there on the quarter panel of Katie Osmond trying to hang him out. As they exit 2, Osmond going to slot in just behind the 98 of Thomas Light.
Yeah, Dave, they're all going to the bottom. That double line you see in the entrance as the drivers work through the middle. Right now it's Thomas Light, Katie Osmond, Brian Littleton. Now side by side for that 4th spot. Here comes Eric Blunt. Oh, and a little loose there for Chris Medford off of turn 4. He's going to save it, but Dave, he's going to lose a ton of spots on lap 1.
Yeah, losing a ton of spots on lap 1 and going backwards as well as Tyler Hilton. Big time moment there for the 82 machine. Looks like he's got it all right. A little loose there off of turn number 2 once again for that 82 machine. So we'll have to keep our eye on a few of these drivers. Look like they're very loose out there very early here tonight already.
Yeah, Dave, they're already working to get single file. They're trying to find a good rhythm and try to log some laps. 113 laps is what we've got tonight. That's a long time around this Darlington Raceway. And as I mentioned in the pre-race, you do not want to hurt your car early in this event.
Yeah, and it looks like we're starting to see most of the drivers get single file. And just as I say that, Troy Radford goes to the inside of the 4 of Michael Massengill through turn 3 and 4. He's going to take the position. The 4 looking for a crossover, not going to be there. Roy Hyde looking to pounce, looking to go onto the inside down the front stretch. Here comes Brian Mescal Jr. A lot of other cars here. This could, contact between the 4 and the 00. Roy Hyde catches the car, the 4, leaving a little bit of room now. A lot of cars going to freight train him into the outside wall. Tough break there for the 4 of Michael Massengill.
Yeah, and that's what we talked about in the pre-race. Just kind of a little bit of trouble here and there. Just kind of a little bit. And right now, look at the front. It's Brian Littleton. He mounts the charge. He gets around Katie Osmond. And now he tries to reel in our leader, Thomas Light, who's led since the get-go.
Yeah, Thomas Light continuing to lead the race here after securing his 2nd pole of the season. Thomas doing a good job keeping the gap right where it needs to be. Fired off the race very well. Looks like he's keeping the car about a half a lane off of the wall, and the 80's going to have to, I think he's going to have to root him out of the way, or at least pressure him to the point of a mistake here. And a mistake here can be very big. I mean, this is pretty much a momentum track as well. You mentioned the way that turns 1 and 2 are shaped. If you got to get off the gas a little bit early, that can spell some trouble as the 80 looks to the inside now through 3 and 4. Side by side coming off of the corner back to the stripe. Thomas Light going to keep the position for the moment.
Yeah, Brian Littleton's just so much stronger, Dave, on the bottom of the racetrack. He went to the bottom in turn 3 and just made it stick. And look at that momentum. He drives off of turn 2, and he pulls Thomas Light by about 3 car lengths down the long back straightaway here at Darlington.
Yeah, Littleton very, very strong right now, showing some muscle out of that Dirty Air Racing stable. Man, that was an absolute power move, especially at a track like this Darlington Raceway. And I'm actually shocked and surprised to see that go down the way it did.
Yeah, most definitely. And right now, Katie Osmond has drilled up to the bumper of Thomas Light. Man, they've got company. Look at Eric Blunt, that 6 machine. Good to see that 6 car starting to have a little bit of life, as this time we come to put lap 9 on the board. 9 of the 113 that will make up the race this evening. And now Katie Osmond's going to the bottom of Thomas Light.
Yeah, it looks like the bottom's the place to go if you're going to want to pass. But look at the traffic jam that it created, man. The 6 of Eric Blunt almost ran over the 98, and that checked up. A lot of drivers behind him. Looks like Chris Medford, Brian Snare, all almost just piled in right there. So when you get to that close point of having to lift, and it's 2 cars having to do it, the track gets blocked pretty quick.
Yeah, most definitely. And I tell you what, you want to talk about something impressive. Brian Little, wow, he has just stepped on the gas, Dave. He has put already a second between him and Katie Osmond. And you go all the way back to, really, it looks like the top 11 cars are running in this first pack. And then you have to go back to Roy Hyde. He's 5 seconds off the pace before you find the second group of cars really spread out right now here at Darlington Raceway. But a lot of good battles, including that battle for right now.
Yeah, and it's pretty amazing the way that Brian Littleton has stepped away from the field. He's got himself about a 1.5 second advantage as we watch the battle between Eric Blount and Thomas Light. Blount going to the inside, and Osmond up scraping the wall. That's going to spell trouble. Blount going to get it right there onto the inside. Now Thomas Light looking to the inside as well. Will Medford follow through? Looks like he's going to go to the bottom. Brian Snare trying to do so as well. Osmond struggling up there now at the top of the track. And that's what a lot of these drivers need to have to happen, Cody. They need Osmond to have some trouble and have some bad trouble.
Yeah, Dave, but the thing is, right now, the 2 drivers that need him to have that trouble aren't in really positions to pounce. Lance Yancey's back in 11th. Brian Mescal Jr. is mirrored back to 16th. So Katie Osmond gets right back in line in the 5th spot. So still, even after that little bit of trouble, not enough to really cause any havoc yet. But Dave, we'll see if getting into the wall is going to do anything to that race car. He got into it pretty significant there in the middle of 3 and 4. Lost all that momentum, went back at least 3 spots. So we'll see if that changes anything. As right now, he's got Brian Snare, and man, here comes Jimmy Hendrick and a ton of cars behind him.
Yeah, Matthew McMeekin, Tyler Hilton, Troy Radford, Lance Yancey, Roy Hyde, all right there, closing in just behind Brian Snare, Katie Osmond. I mean, he's got a lot of good drivers coming up on his bumper here in the next few laps, and something we got to keep our eye on as well here, Cody. I know it's very early in the run, but fuel strategy and tire strategy. Darlington, one of those tracks that has been... Oh, and the 24 gets sideways into, I believe that was Brandon Medford right there going around. No, this Tyler Hilton, actually. The 82 of Tyler Hilton into the outside wall. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, it looks like Hilton might have lost it a little coming off of 4, Dave, and unfortunately to his outside was Michael McMeekin, and when McMeekin come back around, he clipped the inside left fender, the passenger rear fender of Hilton, and spun him around. Doesn't look like that machine's hurt too bad off, Dave.
Doesn't look like a ton of damage. It was a pretty hard hit. It was a pretty good lick. Nonetheless, we'll look at it from the top there. You see the contact between himself and the 24, the 82 into the outside wall. Looked like Troy Radford may have gotten a little piece of that on his way by. But for the most part, no other cars involved. And good for the 82 to still be running, so maybe not as bad as it all looks.
Yeah, but here's one thing, Dave. All these drivers already on the scanner. As I've got the scanner on in my headset, everybody's wanting tires right now, so everybody's going to get a chance to get some fresh Goodyears here and get ready to go back to work.
Yeah, everybody going to want to come and get tires, but I wonder how the 80 of Brian Littleton at the front of the field feels about that caution coming out. He was stepping away from the field, and he did it after about 8 laps into the run. there, Cody. So it looked like he liked his car on the older tires. We'll have to wait and see how he fires off here when we go back green flag racing, if he can maintain the lead when they all come to pit road this time by.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. And you know what, Dave? If you've got a car that you like on older tires, this is going to be one of those fun races. If you don't like the tires fading away and you're already squirmy and everything else, then it's a long road to hoe. But definitely we'll pay attention to how these tires fade out. So we did have some takers on pit road. Roy Hyde was on pit road. Michael McMeekin was on there. Lance Yancey, Tyler Hilton, Brian Muskell Jr., Chuck Mobley, all the drivers on pit road getting some fresh Goodyears and making some adjustments.
So as we find ourselves under caution for the first time here tonight, we're going to step away from the track for just a brief commercial break. Don't go nowhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back. Having to cut the commercial short here because we're going back green flag racing once again here from Darlington Raceway in the conserved Georgia Pecan Amber Ale 113. The 80 of Brian Littleton had the control of the restart, fires off well. Rest of the field about 3 car lengths behind him. Eric Blount right there in second. Thomas Light, the 98, your pole sitter, early lap leader back there in third. We'll have to see how he does in dirty air early in the run. We'll also have to see here, Cody, how that 80 of Brian Littleton maintains the pace starting from the front of the field.
Yeah, most definitely, Dave. I'm watching a battle there between Brian Stair and Katie Osmond. I was watching them go back and forth as drivers starting to sort things out. I'll tell you what, I want to put a spotlight on a guy we haven't talked about a lot, and that's Cody Terry. He is the biggest mover after that first caution. He's up 12 positions, Dave, in that 22 machine, trying to make a run here in one of his rare starts we've got this season.
Yeah, Cody not being able to join us each and every week out here on the track in the RFC NEXTGEN Light Electric Company ARCA Menards K&N Series. But when he does, he tends to have some pretty good runs. Unfortunately, getting caught up in some messes from time to time has brought him to some finishes that he'd rather not speak about. Also want to give a big shout out to the driver just in front of Cody Terry, that 9 of Travis Smith in the Flipside Wicked Energy number 9 machine. That Dodge out there making a very rare appearance, running just inside the top 10.
Yeah, Dave, and he's sorting around Dustin Pink right now, but I tell you what, a driver that has, is it crazy to say, I think he's faster now than he was before that pit? Brian Littleton, he's pushing nearly, well, he's already up to a second ahead once again of Chris Mefford. That 80 machine is on a rocket ship. And oh my goodness, we watched it on screen there. Driver's not going to be happy, I can assure you that. A little bit of contact there between the 1 of Dustin Ping and the 9 of Travis Smith. Ping down below the apron all the way up to the wall and into the side of the 9, pushing him right into that outside wall. It's gonna have some tempers flying here early. Saturday night track racing, and
Darlington. It's usually Saturday night, but, you know, it's Sunday now.
We understand you, but I tell you what, Thomas Light right now, Eric Blunt, Brian Snare, Troy Radford, they are putting on a show, slicing and dicing right now, heading down the back straightaway going into turn 3. Thomas Light starting to get away. Now side by side, Eric Blunt and Brian Snare, they wrestle going into turns 3 and 4. And here comes Troy Radford.
And going back to focus for just a brief moment on a Travis Pryor trouble. Ooh. That 0-2 with some trouble. He's damaged pretty bad. Looks like he's going to pull it to pit road. Going back to the track with the action at the front. Thomas Light, Brian Snare, Eric Blount. They continue to put on a show up here. Tough break for that 0-2 of Travis Pryor. I caught that out of the back, out of the corner of my eye there, so I wanted to kind of see what went on. And it looks like the 22 also with some trouble. Cody Terry, he goes around.
Yeah, Cody Terry got the worst out of that deal off of Ford. No caution, though. Officials keep us green here on the racetrack. And in the meantime, Brian Littleton is about to get busy, Dave, as it looks like Chris Medford, man, in that hot black and pink 84 has ran him down.
Yeah, and I wonder if that's just a product of just running a little bit too hard too early on the tires. Or could Littleton possibly be baiting here, running a little bit easier, but I'm not sure. That closing rate, oh my Lord, Chris Medford right there now on the gearbox of that 80. He's going to have to pick up the pace, and we've got lap traffic just in front of our race leaders going into turn 3.
Yeah, Cody Terry's going to pull down. That car is hurt bad. He's going to bring it to pit road possibly as Brian Littleton showing the way over Chris Medford, but Medford there, he is within a car length going into turn 1.
Medford continues to chase down your race leader, Brian Littleton. Can Littleton continue to just keep him back there, keep him at bay? In a track like this, you're driving in the rearview mirror just as much as you would at a super speedway, because you really want to block that line, because there is an absolute preferred line now looking like going to the inside. Medford drag race down the front stretch. Littleton going to cross the line first, but the 84 going to have the position. The 80 just going to go ahead and kind of let him have it there in the turn 1, electing to not really go side by side. I think that's a pretty smart move on his behalf.
Yeah, Dave, we talked about how impressive Brian Littleton's move was earlier in that first run. How about what Chris Medford has been able to do? He just simply ran down Littleton, ran around him, and now Dave's starting to pull about a 3-car advantage, and it's about a 15-car advantage back to third place Brian Snare.
Yeah, and it's kind of a mirror image of what we seen Littleton do to Light there in that first run before we had our first caution here at Darlington Raceway in the Conserve Georgia Pecan Amber Ale 113. We seen Littleton run down Thomas Light, then we seen him get by him, and Medford into the wall. That's going to bring Littleton right back there to the gearbox, and here comes Snare as well. Littleton right up next to that outside wall. Oh my goodness, now make it a 3-car battle for the top spot. Medford hanging on, keeping it for now. Things just in the blink of an eye. There you go. Lady in Black bringing all the action right back to us.
I tell you what, he had that car all the way up into the wall, almost to a stop. And for him to get back in front of Littleton, David, he's already started to pull away again as Littleton and Snare. And now here comes Troy Radford. And also you can put Tyler Hilton in the mix too.
And Hilton, a handful of laps ago, he was involved in our first caution, and here he is back inside your top 5, running in the 3rd position, trying to run down Brian Littleton and see if he can't go up there. Challenge for the race lead. So Hilton with the move to the inside, going to take the 2nd spot away easily into 3 and 4 there on Brian Littleton.
I'm thinking kind of like what you said, Dave. I think Littleton might have forced the issue a little too much on that initial green flag, as man, oh man, Tyler Hilton shot out of a cannon, runs down Medford, and Dave, he goes to the point.
Yeah, and did you see the way he went through the center of 1 and 2 there? Absolutely sideways. Dirt tracking, if you will, through the center of 1 and 2, and if anybody's really driven here at Darlington, you know you can kind of drift it a little bit here. I have done some drift practice in a cup car here, believe it or not, with a few other drivers. We won't get into all that, but you can absolutely drift through that corner without a lot of effort. So just interesting to see him just kind of skating through the center there. That was pretty awesome to see the 82 make that pass and into the outside wall. Darlington stripe number, I believe that may be 3 or 4 there for the 82. But he continues to lead tonight's race.
Yeah, Dave, I know the folks in the trailer not wanting to hear this, but I did a little drift practice earlier today, and it was not on purpose. It was just simply out there trying to turn some laps. Yours might have been on purpose. Mine was not. But Hilton got into the outside retaining wall, still not really slowing him down any. But I'm taking a look back through the field, and where Lance Yancey is, he's running in 7th, Katie Osmond 8th. That's a points battle. You have to go all the way back to 16th, now 15th to find Brian Mescal Jr., who, Dave, he's just kind of been hanging out around that 13th, 14th, 15th spot. So interesting to see if maybe he can get that 33 machine up through the field later in the race. But he's been pretty steady back there, just hanging on to the top 15.
Yeah, and I want to focus in on a driver that we've seen him in victory lane this season, but he's a little bit behind the 8 ball as far as the points are concerned. I mentioned him in the opening segment there when we were going over our point standings. Troy Radford running right now in the 2nd position, and he's doing exactly what he needs to do to make his way back up into the inside the top 5 and give himself some kind of an outside shot mathematically. If he can walk away with a couple race wins here, he mathematically still has an outside shot, as it looks like green flag pit stops are underway. The 49 of Radford going to come to pit road this time by. And Cody, that's something me and you haven't even discussed here tonight. The entry and exit of pit road, as well as the speed to get down to pit road. Tell us, and we can laugh about it now, or I can still at least. Tell us a little bit about your pit exit ventures.
Well, you know, it took me 3 attempts to actually get out onto the racetrack. So if that gives you any kind of a clue on what it is getting off of pit road here, it's super slick. We talk about the racing surface. It's slick in itself. But down on that apron, you know, it's even worse. And getting onto pit road, Dave, pit road entrance here at Darlington is blind. You come into turn 3, and if you don't have a pinpoint, you know, kind of like a checkpoint on the racetrack, you will totally miss pit road entrance because it is hid, tucked away off of turn 4. So if you don't get that car woed down and you don't have a point to kind of turn off the racetrack, you're going to totally miss pit road here. And we're going to see that, I think, before it's all said and done. But right now it looks like everybody's getting in and getting their service, as Chris Mefford and also Brandon Mefford were able to get on pit road and get their pit stops first. So when things cycle out, we may see that 84 machine back out front.
Yeah, and it looks like the 80 of Brian Littleton, the 6 of Eric Blount, as well as Brian Kaufman, all onto pit road that time by Chuck Mobley, as well as your race leader, Tyler Hilton, continues to stay out on track. The 77 of Lance Yancey right there in 2nd position. He's about 5, almost 6 seconds behind your race leader, Travis Smith, 9 seconds behind your race leader, running in 3rd, as Hilton starts to kind of catch up to the tail end of the field. Lap cars, as the 83 going to make his way by Hilton. 83 going to unlap himself. So absolutely looks like Medford, when he does make his pit stops, as long as we stay green flag here, Cody, looks like Medford should have the advantage, as he was able to make a pass on our race leader, our current race leader, Tyler Hilton.
Yeah, and he's got Troy Radford right in his tailpipe, so to speak, diving into turn 1. But keep that in mind, Dave. Once we start to see cars go to pit road, the way the tire fall off is here, it is, I would say it's close to Atlanta. I don't think it's as bad as Atlanta. As we watch Troy Radford go to the front, he's going to get around Medford for, it looks like on the racetrack, the 10th spot. This track, it wears those tires out so bad. It's kind of like a cheese grater. So once you see somebody go on pit road, you're going to see other drivers follow, Dave, because they simply can't afford to give up that much track time.
Yeah, and I mean something that's pretty interesting to me right now is looking at the last time these drivers were on pit road. Tyler Hilton on pit road last time on lap 16. We're only working lap 44, so I mean that's less than 30 laps difference on the tires here, and it's just that much. The tire wear and the tire fall off is just that much. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and I look at the fifth place running car, Melvin Young. He's up 20 spots, but he's got 42 laps. Oh, and Brian Mescal Jr. just columned off the wall in turn 2. What I was saying was Melvin Young's got 43 laps on his tires right now, by far the most in the field. He's got that car up to that 5th spot. So interesting to see what kind of plan he's got going on here. He's just simply staying on the racetrack, as I hear now in my headset, the 10 cars coming to pit road this time.
Yeah, and it looked like that time. Oh, hard onto the brakes, trying to get woed up and into the inside retaining wall. Tough break there for the 10 of Melvin Young. We were keyed in on him as he was making his pit road entry attempt, and a tough break there. Just locked him up. Looked like the right front tire just kind of locked up on him there. Sent him to the inside wall, and ooh, that car is pretty tore up. That's going to need some service.
Yeah, that is a lot of damage on the front of that GoDaddy number 10. Tough break, you know, interesting to see Melvin stay on the racetrack. 42 laps on one set of tires, Dave. I mean, that's pretty impressive to say the least.
It is. I mean, all these drivers ducking down the pit road about 30 laps onto their tires, so to be out there that long on his tires. Oh, and contact the 48 into the outside wall. The 00 of Roy Hyde involved. Oh, more contact. Tyler Hilton catching a piece of this one as well. Oh, the 48 of Jimmy Hetrick. I believe that was Jimmy Hetrick involved, as well as the 00 of Roy Hyde. We'll go back, take a look at it as we see that 48 Ally machine torn up there next to the inside wall. We'll take a look back down through the center of 1 and 2. Oh, sideways off of turn 2. Hard impact into the outside wall. And that, just ran right into the 00. Nowhere to go. Tyler Hilton also catching a piece. Nowhere to go. Catching a little piece of that one, man. That's a tough break.
Yeah, Dave, I don't know if we can get our turn 3 guys to check out the in-car camera. Maybe we can go back to that Jimmy Hetrick crash and check out the in-car camera of Tyler Hilton. Let's see the cockpit view. Check out the hands of that 82 machine as he just gets clipped right in the right rear fender, whips it around, keeps cool, calm, and collected, and turns it back straight. What could have been disaster for the leader.
And catching it a little bit late there. Oh, yeah, that could have been bad because there was another car coming right there. We actually had the onboard camera shot right there. Thought we were on the wrong car, but no, Tyler Hilton saving it. That could have been pretty bad.
Just goes to show you, some of these drivers, some of these cars and some of these drivers, they do some crazy things because, Dave, we talked about in the past how light these cars are, especially when they start sliding. But just a good move there for the leader, and Tyler Hilton, pretty impressive.
As we find ourselves back under caution, multiple cars coming to pit road that time by, so we'll let things sort out for just a brief moment, as it looks like Lance Yancey in the 77, he's going to stay out on track, and he will assume the race lead. Or actually, no, coming off of pit road first, the 77 of Lance Yancey. Sorry, I apologize. I don't know what I was reading there on the timing and scoring, but yeah, Lance Yancey's pit crew getting the job done, up 10 positions. Heck of a stop. Doesn't look like the stop was I don't want to say all that great, but looked like a pretty normal stop there.
Yeah, and hats off to that 77 crew because, if you're out front here, 9 times out of 10, if you're out front, it's the safest place, as we got some of the cars that are a lap down making some pit adjustments here. 50 laps in at Darlington.
Yeah, 50 laps into tonight's Conserve Georgia Pecan Amber Ale 113. About what is that? 60 something ish laps left to go. Still a very long night here. I'm sure the lady in black has not claimed her last victim just yet. And, I mean, we've seen a lot of good drivers involved with some bad spots there. You know what I mean? Tyler Hilton caught up in an incident earlier, also catching a little bit of piece of our latest caution here tonight. So you got to be careful at all times here at Darlington. You almost got to tiptoe around as if you were at one of those super speedway tracks there, Cody. So, I mean, even though you think you're safe at the front, you're kind of not.
Yeah, very true. But I tell you what, I want to point something out right now. We talked about Katie Osmond being the man of the hour, so to speak, winning 2 of the last 3 races and points leader. Take a look at who's first and who's third right now. Lance Yancey's out front. He gained 10 positions on pit road. Third place, Brian Mescal Jr. He gained 13 points coming off the pit road. Now it looks like Mescal, yeah, he's going to stay in third. So second, third in points right now. First and third on the racetrack. We'll see if they can do anything with that track position here as we creep closer to halfway.
Yeah, and to their delight, where is Osmond? He's back there in the 8th position. And we've seen drivers, once they get kind of mired back there around that 10th position, it's kind of hard for him to make that run. He does have some company back there with him. Brian Littleton, Thomas Light, both of those drivers have already been at the front of the field. So look for that trio of cars to try to make their way from a little further back in the pack as Chevy Silverado pace truck ducks off this time by the 77 of Lance Yancey will bring us back to the green flag this time by field coming to the restart box on the loud pedal. Green flag flies once again here in the Conserve Georgia Pecan Amber Ale 113 here in the RFC Light Electric Company Arkham Menards K&N Series well and away from the field. The 77 of Lance Yancey has a 5-card lead coming out of 1, and caution flag flies. Looks like a lot of cars involved in this one. Oh my goodness, the 48 of Jimmy Hetrick involved once again. Travis Arthur looks like he may have been involved as well. We'll have to take a look, see how all this went down.
Dave, I don't know how in the world. I just seen out of the corner of my eye this wreck going down. I don't know how Brian Littleton did not get all in the middle of this wreck, but somehow that 80 car is going to leave this wreck unscathed.
We'll have to take a look here. Oh my goodness. See how it all happened. There you see all the smoke right around Littleton. Oh my. Wow, the 7 went right up and over him, I believe. We'll take another look at this one. That's an interesting crash there.
I mean, he could have reached out and touched him out the driver's window, I think.
Gonna go from one of our closer zoomed in drone cam. Oh my goodness. Did you see that come through the screen? Wow. That was, wow. Very, very, wow. That's all I can say. Holy jeez. That was crazy. Wow. All right, well, we'll catch back up with the field under caution once again here. The 77 of Lance Yancey fired off as good as you can there on that latest restart. And it looks like a ton of drivers on the pit road. Katie Osmond, Chris Medford, Thomas Light, Brian Snare, Brian Littleton, Dustin Ping, Doug Wasaki, all on the pit road. Most of those drivers were involved with that incident. Looks like your top 8 has stayed out on track. So, Cody, man, these restarts, they're going to get a little bit interesting, or more and more interesting, I should say, as we get closer and closer to the end of the race. Not quite sure what happened there. Looked like maybe a little bit of net code going on because that 48 of Hetrick just kind of turned sideways pretty quick.
Yeah, and Travis Arthur may have got into him. I'm not sure, but man, Thomas Light destroyed. I was taking a look at some of our big hitters. Brian Snare, his car pretty much demolished down in 1 and 2. Katie Osmond literally snuck through this incident. When I say he snuck through, Thomas Light was about 3 feet away from his race car. So, man, there's a lot of damage down there in 1 and 2 and a lot of big hitters. But I'm telling you what, Lance Yancey and Brian Maskell Jr.'s pit crew right now looking like the heroes after that big incident.
Absolutely, and electing to stay out on the track is the 77 of Lance Yancey, as well as the 24 and the 33. And as the field works their way down the backstretch, we're going to step away for just a brief commercial break. You know how it is, got to pay the bills. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. As promised, back to the track, ready to go. Back green flag racing. Field should get the one to go this time by, just like that. Chevy Silverado pace truck lights do go out. Looks like the 77 gonna choose the inside lane here, Cody. And you think we'll see any of our race leaders at any point in time maybe choose that outside lane on a restart?
I would say the only way you're going to see that happen is if you see somebody else on the front row that's a teammate. That would be the only thing, very similar to what we see at the plate tracks. I just think being on the bottom on the restart is the safest place to be, simply because, you know, the wall's out there for one, and plus when a lot of people make mistakes going into turn one, I feel like all the mistakes float to the high side of the racetrack. So I think the safest place to be is going to be on the bottom. And Dave, with being on the bottom, you've got a lot more real estate to work as we get ready to see our Chevrolet pace truck dive on the pit road. 56 laps into this 113 lap feature. We'll see if we can get things back going as Lance Yancey and Matthew McMeekin's on the front row.
The field coming to the restart box. 77 has the control of the field, on the gas, and away we go. Green flag flies here at Darlington Raceway once again in the Conserve, Georgia Pecan Amber Ale 113. 33 of Brian Maskell Jr. trying to run down Matthew McMeekin. The 77 of Lance Yancey, he fired off well on the restart. Now away from the field, he's got a 3-car advantage over the 24 heading back into turn number 3.
Yeah, they head off into turns 3 and 4. McMeekin and Maskell Jr. battling for that second spot. Here comes Tyler Hilton. He's already had an entertaining evening, and here comes McMeekin. McMeekin, he's battling for the lead going into turn 1. We're halfway through.
Halfway through, new race leader, the 24, Matthew McMeekin, going to the top spot for the first time here tonight. Brian Maskell Jr. falling to the wayside just a little bit. Here comes Tyler Hilton. Troy Radford now making a move to the inside on Hilton. Put Radford into fourth. And he's going to go up there, see if he can't challenge that Mountain Dew machine being piloted by Brian Maskell Jr. Tyler Hilton just behind him. Travis Smith, where did he come from? He's gained 9 positions up into the 6th spot here tonight.
Yeah, Smith's all the way up to 6th, but right now battling for second. Now McMeekin pulls away from Yancey. Here comes Maskell Jr. No, he tucks back behind the 77. Is that going to be a mistake? Because here comes Troy Radford. Radford, he's running the high side around Darlington, turn 3 and 4. He's pulling into third, and Dave, he's bringing some other drivers with him.
Yeah, now looking to the inside, halfway down the front stretch, now going to take that spot through 1 and 2. Can he bring his teammates with him? Looks like they're going to do it. Travis Smith now looking to come through as well. Eric Blount, Katie Osmond, Maskell Jr. getting freight trained right now out there on the high side, so that is not where you want to find yourself right now on fresh tires after a restart. Stuck on that outside lane, and Maskell Jr. drops from 3rd all the way back to 7th, and if he's not careful, maybe outside the top 10.
Man, I don't know if you caught it on camera or not, but Dustin Pink just took our points leader, Katie Osmond, 3 wide with Brandon Memphis. Katie pulled the parachute and said he didn't want any part of that going into turns 1 and 2. Dustin Ping takes the 9th spot. They are racing, Dave, all over this historic racetrack here at Darlington. And now as we see Brian Littleton, he's going to make a move on Katie Osmond, and that is for the 10th spot.
Yeah, and you know, you got to wonder if the points lead goes into your mind at any point in time. If you're Katie Osmond, you know you've come into a very, very tough track. You've had a little bit of trouble already here tonight. Nothing that you can't manage, but a little bit of trouble here tonight. Almost had an incident that could have been very bad as Dustin Ping now tries to work over Brandon Medford, but Osmond almost involved in something that could have been very bad for his points here tonight. Does it ever cross your mind to just, you know what, let's just back out of this? Top 10 is good enough points day. Let's stay right here. Let's race for 10th. Let's not go up there until it's time. Do you think that ever crosses anybody's mind as the 83 of Brandon Medford stuck into the outside wall? He's going to lose positions now as Doug Wasaki takes that spot away. I mean, do you ever play it safe, man, as a race car driver?
No, I would say so, but I would say the other thing is he sees Brian Mescal Jr. just in front of him, and Mescal Jr. is in 7th, so he can see one of the drivers in the top 3. So if they're struggling, they're not going to gain any points on him. Now, Lance Yancey's running 2nd. He's following McMeekin right now, but he's a good distance back. You can't stop the world, so to speak. But out of the 3 drivers in the hunt right now for the championship, Katie knows one of them is just one spot in front of him. So that's something that he can manage, and only Brian Littleton is between him and Mescal Jr. So as far as points goes, if you can keep one of them at bay throughout the night, Dave, I think that you can leave here as a positive. But that might be what Katie's doing. He's just trying to manage the race. But, Dave, we've still got quite a bit of racing to go, only 66 laps into this event.
That's right, a long way to go. And you said you were maybe a little more concerned about Brian Mescal Jr. right now if you were Katie Osmond. But, man, I tell you what, I'd be worried about that 77 of Lance Yancey. He is hunting the front right now all over that 24 of Matthew McMeekin as they work their way off of turns 3 and 4, looking now to the inside. Drag race down into turn 1. Looks like McMeekin's going to give Yancey the top spot, and he's going to scoot away from the field halfway through turns 1 and 2. That's the driver I'd be worried about because he's up there leading the race. He's maximizing points right here, right now. It's tough to... it's a tough position here for Katie. It really is. I mean, you got to manage the points, but you can't just let off the gas either. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and for Katie too, do you want to go into a 3-way fight for the championship, or would you rather it between you and one other person? And right now, if it can keep Mescal Jr. in the windshield, so to speak, then he's only going to have to deal with Lance Yancey instead of, hey, I've got 2 people breathing down my neck. But still, we've got a lot of racing to go. Katie's up to 9th, Brian Mescal Jr. 6th, and then, of course, Lance Yancey is out front. So that's kind of a look at the points battle right now. But I'm telling you what, Dave, as Lance starts to pull away, Troy Radford, McMeekin, Smith, and Hilton, they are putting on a show. They have been 2 wide, 3 wide. Oh, and it looks like Radford trouble off of 2. It's going to give McMeekin the run. He'll take the 2nd spot. And here comes the guy we talked about, Travis Smith. He's hugging the bottom around 3 and 4, hunting for that 3rd spot.
Tyler Hilton right there as well, right there on the gearbox of that 9 of Smith. Smith not able to take the spot away from Radford as Radford had that moment. McMeekin skates away just for the time being. Now Tyler Hilton falls behind just for a brief moment. Brian Littleton looking to try to close in on Brian Mescal Jr. as Katie Osmond, he's losing a little bit of ground here. He's got a few drivers in between himself and Brian Mescal Jr. now, so not quite sure what's going on with that 88 of Katie Osmond. We'll take a look back here as he tries to track down that 6 of Eric Blount. KD down 7 spots from where he started. Today's race started from outside pole position here today, now running in the 9th spot. Right there with Eric Blount now looking to the inside. He's going to take away the 8th position. But yeah, it looks like he's going the opposite direction, even though he just made a pass. Looks like the rest of the field in front of him, Cody's starting to step away.
Yeah, Dave, and you got to be thinking maybe some of that damage that he got earlier in the event. He got into that outside ball pretty hard on that first run, and maybe that's caused a little bit of damage. He was, well, just nearly in that last big crash we had in 1 and 2. So you never know. I have never counted him out. We've called these races for, we've called a few races now, and I felt like, okay, he's nowhere to be found. Boom, we're talking about him with 5 laps to go. So we'll see how things shake out. Right now, Lance Yancey showing the way. Matthew McMeekin second, Tyler Hilton third, Travis Smith fourth, Troy Radford fifth. So far, Dave, 41 laps to go, 3 cautions that have added up to 12 laps so far. So this race moving right along. As you know, we always expect one really good long green flag run. And Dave, I feel like we're zoning in on that now.
Yeah, I think we're in that long green flag run, as well as I was looking at the timing and scoring and looking at the last time these drivers hit pit road, and it looks like we're right on that window here of green flag pit stops. I would say here in the next 3 to 5 laps. So these tires beginning to wear on multiple machines out there, and I'm noticing a trend here. We've seen that 77 of Lance Yancey come firing through the field and take the lead and then walk away. We've seen some drivers get close to him there for a moment, but it seems like if you're able to manage your tires for the first 6 to 8 laps, you can really start to pressure the rest of the field over the rest of the run, as we've seen drivers kind of play it easy and then fire off to the front. Brian Littleton did it. Thomas Light had control of the race for a very long time as well. Lance Yancey now out there controlling the race. And I think tire management on these restarts have been very, very key in tire management here on a green flag pit stop is going to be even more crucial.
Yeah, Dave, and those green flag pit stops are underway now. Travis Smith just decked onto pit road. He had put nearly 36 laps on that set of tires he was on. Now, we know he's got a really good dirt background, so when these tires start to get slick, they start to get greasy, it's more like a dirt car. So keep that in mind through the rest of this race. If we do have a long green flag run, he was definitely out there longer than anybody else on a set of tires. So we'll see how things shake out. As I hear on the radio, we've got some other cars coming in. Troy Radford's going to be coming in this time by. So, Dave, here comes those green flag pit stops. We'll see how things shake out as they start to get on pit road.
And as we do hear drivers coming to pit road on the radio, how long is your race leader willing to stay out there, willing to give up the time on the old tires here? How long will that 77 gamble and play the long game? It can work to your advantage with a late caution during a green flag run. We've seen that happen before, but that's a pretty risky one to lay your hat on, especially as the race leader already. So we'll just wait and see what this 77 of Lance Yancey does as he continues to stay out on the racetrack. The 24 of Matthew McMeekin, as well as the 82 of Tyler Hilton. Pretty much your top 10 all electing to stay out on track so far. Katie Osmond, Eric Blount, Troy Radford into pit road that time by. And with all these green flag pit cycles going on and the way things have fell here tonight, Cody, we have got a lot of this field down 1 lap. As a matter of fact, only your top 9 drivers still remain on the lead lap. So Lance Yancey continuing just to put an onslaught on the field. And if we get a late race caution right now, it's going to mix the field up pretty bad.
Yeah, Dave, what you're going to see right now, this could be a very dangerous part of the race for our leaders if we don't see them on pit road, because you're going to see old tires on the racetrack and you're going to see new tires. You're going to see these drivers, you'll be able to tell visually who's got fresh tires, because they are going to be whipping around this Darlington Raceway, and that could be a dangerous thing for these leaders because they're out there right now on these old tires. We're talking 32 laps on these tires for Lance Yancey and Matthew McMeekin compared to who just got fresh tires. So we'll see how things shake out, as still we see that 77 car work down the back straightaway, and as he dives into turn 3, Dave, he's not coming in this time either.
Going to continue to stay out there on track, and I think now looking at the lap times and looking at the laps left, what lap we're on as Lance Yancey brings the field to begin lap number 82 out of the 113 scheduled here tonight. We're right at that 32-ish laps remaining mark here. So if Lance Yancey and McMeekin can continue this run here for the next maybe 2 or 3 laps, that's going to put them in a position where they're going to have absolutely the freshest tires, and they're going to know exactly how their cars are going to handle the rest of this run, as your top 4 are the only drivers to not hit pit road so far, and they're the only drivers left on the lead lap as well.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this right now, Lance Yancey's time hasn't really came off that much with him not coming to pit road. As I'm hearing now, the Turn 3 Racing Network guys are telling me McMeekin is coming in. So the 24 car, the second place car, is diving to pit road. So that's going to leave Lance Yancey all by himself out front. Brian Littleton's coming in this time. So right now, Lance Yancey and Dustin Ping are the only 2 drivers on the track right now on the lead lap, as they both have 30-plus laps on their tires. Yancey has 35, Ping has 30.
Yeah, and if you're Lance Yancey, you're probably talking to your crew chief and spotter asking where that first driver is that hit pit road, and that was the 9 of Travis Smith, and Smith starting to make up some ground as Lance Yancey elects to come to pit road this time by. Good pit road entry. Looks nice and smooth, no lockup of the tires, so look for Lance Yancey to try to maintain the lead. And I think, I could be wrong, with the way the pit cycle is going to shake itself out. I think we're going to be on board with your race leader here in just a moment, the 9 of Travis Smith.
Yeah, Smith's on the back bumper of Dustin Ping. Ping's going to go to the bottom. Possibly we see that 1 car come to pit. No, we are not. The 1 car is going to stay out. So Travis Smith unlaps himself, and it looks like Troy Radford will do the same. But Dustin Ping out there, Dave, maybe he's playing the caution game. If he could luck up and get a caution here, he's going to be a hero. But if that caution comes out, he's going to be well behind the times, so to speak.
Yeah, and at this point in time, as soon as that first car, Travis Smith, got by Dustin Ping, as trouble for 1 driver, Michael Metzengill to 4, contact with the inside wall. We stay green flag racing. That almost worked out here for Dustin Ping with that caution there, as he hits the outside wall trying to come to pit road this time by, but was playing that long game. But as I was going to say, as soon as Travis Smith got by him, that strategy is done for. You got to hit pit road before they get back by you. The first car unlaps himself the hard way for that long strategy to work out, unless you get that caution, and at that point in time, you're just losing so much time. Without the caution, you're just a sitting duck.
Yeah, and Ping is literally on the outside retaining wall off turn 4, so I don't know if he's got a tire going down, but he was just riding the wall in turns 3 and 4, so we'll see how long that 1 car can last, as Travis Smith now starting to kick in the afterburners as he's going into 3 and 4, and Ping is coming out of 2. Dave, I think it's just a matter of time. That 1 car's got to get to pit road. He's into the outside retaining wall all the way around this racetrack.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if he has a tire down or the car just won't turn at this point in time after making contact with the outside wall multiple times. But Travis Smith, man, he's eating up that race lead that Dustin Ping does have right now. Ping going to have to come to pit road here in the next few laps. Going to run out of fuel if he doesn't. But Troy Radford, man, he's closing in as well. Had a bigger gap, was able to get by one of the lap cars. Oh, big time moment there for Radford. Almost spun it off of 3 and 4. That's going to let Smith get away. I was going to say Radford cut about a second down to 0.4 of a second. And now after that trouble, he finds himself 2 seconds back behind Travis Smith, as the gap to Dustin Ping, believe it or not here, Cody, it's slowed down. Travis Smith is no longer catching Dustin Ping at the rate that he was. He's still catching him quick, but not at the 2-3 second a lap that he was the previous 2 or 3 laps.
Well, Dave, I've always heard once you get about 15 laps on your tires, anywhere from 15 on up is almost the same. Well, Travis Smith now has 14 laps on his tire. Oh, and the caution's out. Caution flag will fly, Dave, and I mentioned it. If Ping stayed out long enough, he could be a hero in this situation, or at least give himself a chance. And Cody Terry looks like may have brought out the caution flag, caution number 4.
Wow. Jukebox hero. Dustin Ping's crew chief looking like he's the smartest man in the world. Cody Terry losing it coming off a pit road. Slides up on the track for just a moment. Race officials going to throw the caution flag. Not a real big heyday there for that caution, but nonetheless on the racing surface. So race officials electing to throw the caution. And what do you know? Lo and behold, first driver to hit pit road. That one of Dustin Ping. Man, his crew chief, spotter, and whole team, man, it paid off. I didn't think it was going to work, but hey, they pulled it off.
Well, every now and again, you got to do something like that. And I feel like, Dave, I know it's crazy to say this, with 7 races to go, counting this one, I feel like you're going to have to see Brian Maskell Jr. and Lance Yancey pull something like that. Pull the rabbit out of the hat. They've got to do something different if they want a chance to climb back into this points battle. Well,
I mean, we're going to have something different here at the end of this race here, because Tyler Hilton, Brian Maskell Jr., Matthew McMeekin, Brian Littleton, Lance Yancey, your top 5 drivers for this restart, staying out under this latest caution. So multiple different little tire strategies in that top 5. About a 4 to 5 lap difference, to be exact, from Tyler Hilton to Lance Yancey on the tire mark there. In the rest of the field, well, they're going to have a lot fresher tires. So will Travis Smith or possibly will we see the 49 of Radford push the envelope? Maybe Katie Osmond restarting there in 10th. Maybe he says, you know what, I've got a good enough points lead. I can push it here and see what happens, and I still have some points to fall back on. Still going to walk away with a top 15 at worst. What do you do here? What do you do, Cody?
Well, you know, I told you track position was king, and I feel like track position is the only reason Tyler Hilton, Brian Maskell Jr., Matthew McMeekin, Brian Littleton stayed on the racetrack. There's 4 of them, and they're going to be taking up at least 2 lanes here on this get-go and this green flag that we're going to have coming. It looks like close to lap 96, and it's going to be kind of a wall. But when I go back to Lance Yancey, Dustin Ping, Travis Smith, Troy Radford, and Katie Osmond, yeah, they're back there mirrored in 5th on back. And when it comes to traffic here, Dave, it only takes 3 laps for things to kind of level out as far as tires go. And if you can't get something done in those 3 or 4 laps, you've worn out everything you've got. So Tyler Hilton, Brian Maskell Jr., your top 2, I really feel like they're hoping that track position is what holds them where they are. But who knows? That 77's hungry. He knows he's 96 points out of the top spot coming in. Let's see how aggressive he is with 2 of his teammates in front of him.
Yeah, and I mean, that's going to be the theme here as we work ourselves to 20 to go is aggression. Who's going to be the most aggressive out there? Who's willing to do what the other drivers aren't? You mentioned earlier in the pre-race how drivers seem to be pretty nice when they're racing around with KD. Don't rough them up as much as maybe the next driver. So who's going to be aggressive here? Who's going to say, you know what, I really don't care if I hurt your feelings. I'm going to walk away with the race win regardless of how you feel at the end of the night. Or will we just see the same cool, calm heads prevail here? I don't know. If it's me, I told you, I'd wreck my mama to win a race. I love her to death and would do anything for her, but she got to go if it comes to the checkered flag.
Yeah, Dave, Green's getting ready to fly for Hilton and Mescal Jr., and there is a trophy at Darlington on the line. This time we cross the line. We've got 19 circuits left here at Darlington. It's Tyler Hilton and Matthew McMeekin taking up the top 2 spots.
Hilton scooting away from the field at the front, half of a second. Separates himself from Matthew McMeekin. Brian Mescal Jr. right there behind him. Brian Littleton also right there. Big scrum going on back there between Dustin Ping, Travis Smith, Troy Radford, Katie Osmond. Big time checkup from a lot of drivers there. And Lance Yancey, man, he's going to have to get on the guy. Oh, big time wiggle. Sideways off of turn 4. My goodness, Travis Smith saved it. Don't know how he was able to save that. Lance Yancey with the fresh tires, though, or fresher tires than the drivers in front of him. Looks like he's trying to make his way up and around a few of them. Brian Littleton now falling to the wayside, put Lance Yancey inside that top 5 and closing very fast.
Dave, Tyler Hilton got into that wall over there in turns 1 and 2, and that has handed the lead back to Matthew McMeekin. That 82 machine got into the wall off turn 2. They had a bug rush down the back straightaway, and it was enough for Brian Mescal Jr. and Matthew McMeekin to get out in front of him. And now that 24 Navy machine, we've seen him lead laps earlier tonight. He's hanging on, trying to win this thing with 17 laps to go, coming to 16 this time by.
And you know, maybe an unknown fact to the viewers out here, and do want to take a moment to say thank you to each and every one of you joining us here tonight on the Turn 3 Racing Network. Whether it's myself, Darkside Dave in the Cave here, or my good buddy Cody right next to me, or anybody else back at the headquarters, we do appreciate each and every time you join us here tonight. But a lot of the viewers may not know here that 33 of Brian Mescal Jr. went to victory lane last night in a Truck Series race at Talladega. Oh, up into the outside wall. Mescal Jr. with some trouble. Heavy damage now. Oh, stuck on that outside wall. He's going to lose a ton of ground. But I was going to say he went to victory lane last night, but now heavy damage late in the race. And that's going to put his winning hopes on the back burner for sure.
Dave, and that goes back to what I said earlier in the pre-race show. Once you get up into that outside retaining wall, you just can't bring the car off the turn. And that's exactly what happened. The 33 of Brian Mescal Jr. got up into the and the caution flag will fly. Caution flag has flew. Looks like an incident off of turn 4. I was going back to see it. And the 84, I want to say it was the 84 involved. Chris Mefford went around off of turn 4, Dave.
Yeah, looking for it right here, and it looks like the 84 is the cause of this latest caution. Will turn. Oh, contact between the 98 of Thomas Light and the 84. And that's what turned the 84 into the outside wall. Oh, my goodness. Looked like they were coming through 3 and 4 and just caught each other there, and into the outside wall goes that 84. Tough break for both himself as well as that 98 of Thomas Light. And with all that being said, we'll go back to the front of the field with the 24 of Matthew McMeekin as he's made his way back up behind the Chevy Silverado pace truck. We're going to step away, ladies and gentlemen, here for just a brief commercial break. Let these drivers sort things out for their pit stops for just a brief second. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with all your green flag action here in the Conserve Georgia Pecan Amber Ale 113, live from Darlington Raceway. Backtrack side here at Darlington Raceway. Cody, man, we're working our way down on inside 15 laps remaining. Gonna have only 11 laps to go when we go back green flag racing, and actually maybe just 10 laps to go when we actually go back green flag racing. I I'm going to put you on the spot here, and I'm going to say who you got.
Well, I've got my calculator out. Larry McReynolds would be proud of what I'm about to do. 18 laps on McMeekin's tires, 21 on Tyler Hilton. And the guy running in third just pulled off maybe the second longest run of the night on tires, Dustin Ping. I'm looking for Ping to be a little aggressive here. We're yet to see Ping go to victory lane this year. I would say this is the closest he's been throughout the year. So I want to see what that number 1 car can do. He's got nothing to lose. We've seen Hilton and McMeekin kind of get together there a little bit earlier. So I'm going to put some pressure on that one machine. I'm going to see if Dustin Ping can pull through. Right now, if you're Lance Yancey, get all you can get, because there's only 1 car separating him and Katie Osmond. And Dave, that's not going to be enough points-wise when they leave here.
Yeah, you're gonna have to win races to make up the points deficit that Katie Osmond has got the rest of the field by coming into tonight's race. And as we've said it multiple times here tonight, 7 races remaining. It's still a lot of racing left to do here in season number 2 for the RFC Next Gen Light Electric Company Arca Menards K&N Series. So a very long road still ahead of these drivers. A lot of very tough tracks ahead of these drivers as well. But you're going to have to win some races, man. And as long as you're winning the races, you might just have that chance. And Matthew McMeekin, Tyler Hilton, Dustin Ping, they've all given themselves the best chance that they can. And I think you said it, that one, I think he's got the best chance out of anybody in the field, although Katie Osmond, Troy Radford, they came to pit road under this latest caution. So they have some pretty fresh tires out there as well. Going to be a tough restart here as the Chevy Silverado pace truck ducks off field in the hands of your race leader, the 24 of Matthew McMeekin, coming to the restart line. Green flag flies as McMeekin hits the gas. Hilton falling backwards a little bit, not as good of a restart as he wanted. Going to be able to keep that second spot though now, as it looks like Lance Yancey looks to the outside of Dustin Ping.
Yeah, Ping got a little bit on that apron, and it cost him as Lance Yancey gets to his outside. Katie Osmond's going to now tuck under the 1 and go to the inside, so Ping's going to have to earn anything he's going to get here in the closing laps. And in the meantime, with now 10 laps to go, it's Matthew McMeekin showing the way at Darlington. Second place, Tyler Hilton. And here comes Lance Yancey. He's trying to rally for that second spot.
And gonna keep my eye for just a brief second on this scrum going on here between the one of Dustin Ping, Katie Osmond, Troy Radford, Travis Smith. They're right here mixing it up side by side now as Lance Yancey looks to the inside of Tyler Hilton going into 3 and 4. He's going to take that spot away, put Lance Yancey into the second spot. Sideways through 3 and 4 is that 77 machine. He's going to set sail now and set his eyes in on the prize, that 24 machine of Matthew McMeekin up at the front of the field. 10-car gap between himself and his closest competition.
Yeah, Matthew McMeekin right now is setting sail with clean air, and here comes Dustin Ping. Ping's on the back bumper of Tyler Hilton. Maybe it just takes that one car a couple of laps to get warmed up before he tries to make the charge. That or it's the pressure coming from behind. Here comes Katie Osmond. He sticks a nose underneath the 1 machine. Now make him 3 wide, heading towards turn 1, and KD backs off.
3 wide, not going to work. 2 wide, almost not working there for a moment. Ping slides up the track for a brief second, brings it back down to the bottom. Now the 49 of Troy Radford right behind him. Here comes the 9 of Travis Smith. The 24 of Matthew McMeekin continuing to lead over Lance Yancey about 0.8 of a second. Separates himself from that 77, so doing exactly what he's got to do. Coming to the end of the race, 6 laps remaining here tonight. Cody racing all over this track.
Yeah, Dustin Ping just went up into the outside. Oh, in trouble! Brian Mescal Jr. gets into the back end of Dustin Ping. Ping whips it around off of turn 2 as it looked like trouble there. Dustin Ping was loose. He was into the outside retaining wall, and he whipped it around right in front of Brian Mescal Jr., and he turned him off of turn 2. Nowhere to go for that 33 Mountain Dew machine.
Yeah, and we'll go to our blimp cam on this replay here. And as you said, Dustin Ping into the outside wall. The 33 committed to the bottom there and right down in front of him, and nowhere to go for that 33. And around the one of Dustin Ping goes. And unfortunately for Brian Mescal Jr., that's going to put him behind here on this what's gonna be a green-white checkered finish here in the RFC NEXTGEN Light Electric Company Arca Menards K&N Series. Our one and only attempt at a green-white checkered, and he's gonna have to come to pit road and get that car fixed. So Brian Mescal Jr. not gonna end up with the finish that he would like, but a man that's kind of liking the caution here. Pretty sure. I'm not going to ask him. Well, maybe we can ask him. Let's see if we have that channel. Let's see. You got that channel anywhere, Cody? Looks like we do have them out there. Let's see if we can't get a word or two in with possibly a nervous driver up at the front of the field here, leading late in the race. 24, Matthew McMeekin. Is Dave and Cody in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, hey, my man. I said you're probably pretty happy about these caution flags here late. Now working ourselves into, I believe it's going to be our one and only attempt at a green-white checkered. How you feeling about this restart after being able to walk away from the field on that last restart?
I felt pretty confident about that. The next time we go green here, I can't spin them. I got a teammate beside me and two really good drivers right behind me. So yeah, I got to be careful because my tires are used up, and I gotta make some distance.
All right, my man. Well, before we let you go and focus in, you want to give any shout outs, thank yous, love yous, thank anybody on the side of the car?
Yeah, everybody that supports me, this great racing series, and of course, yeah, God right now. Let's hope we can win this.
All right, my man. Well, we'll get you hooked back up with your team down there, and man, good luck. Elbows up.
Yes, sir.
Well, there you have it. A few words from your race leader, Matthew McMeekin, and as the field works their way around the caution flag. Around the track under caution. We're going to step away for just a brief 30-second commercial break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Back trackside as the field begins to get double file. You know, Cody, it's tough for me to say here. We may have an unofficial green-white checkered here. We may still have that official green-white checkered in our back pocket. We'll have to wait to see how it all shakes out. But nonetheless, the 24, Matthew McMeekin, you heard him there before that brief commercial break. He's just got to not spin the tires here, and he feels pretty confident about his shot at winning tonight's race.
Yeah, Dave, if he can get a pretty good launch here, whoever's been able to get that launch has been successful by the time they get to turns 1 and 2. We'll see how things shake out, but my eye is on that outside, the front 2 rows on the outside. The points leader is outside row number 2. The guy chasing him is on the front row outside, and they've got a rookie behind them pretty much in Travis Smith. Pace trucks on to pit road. Dave, green-white checker time at Darlington.
Green flag in the air. McMeekin on the gas. Hilton spinning the tires as the 77 of Lance Yancey not getting as good of a start as he wanted. Field checking up behind him, and that's going to let that 24 skate away just that much more. Here comes Osmond. Caution flag flies once again here at Darlington Raceway. Chuck Mobley involved, Damon Cox involved in this one as well, as we see a ton of smoke there through 1 and 2. We'll take a look on our turn 3 replay, see what happened here. It's Chuck Mobley. Oh, a little bit of contact between the 22 into the 57. Oh, my goodness. A lot of cars involved here late in this one.
Yeah, Dave, and I'm hearing through the headset now, the Light Electric Company, Arca Bernard, K&N Series officials are giving the word. That was it. It's going to be Matthew McMeekin. He is going to pick up the win here at Darlington.
Oh, my goodness. So that was our one and only official attempt at a green-white checkered. So field comes to a crawl under the white flag here with the 24 of Matthew McMeekin. Gonna walk away as your race winner, the 77 of Lance Yancey. Not quite able to pull it off here tonight. Gonna finish in second. And man, oh man, look again. Once again, not only just a top 10, but a top 5, finishing in the third and final podium spot here tonight. Katie Osmond, heck of a job by him and his crew. But how about that 24, man? Heck of a job staying out on the track. Heck of a job keeping control of the race on our last 2 or 3 cautions there. What a run by that 24 Navy machine here in the RFC Next Gen Light Electric Company Arca Menards K&N Series. Heck of a job by all of our racers out there tonight, man. Cody, a heck of a night.
Yeah, it was, and impressive to see Matthew McMeekin on those restarts. You know, just the pressure of being out front is one thing, but to see him set sail on those restarts as he brings that 24 Navy Chevrolet to the front straightaway. And Dave, a big win for him. I'm expected to see him possibly burn it down, and he's going to do so down the front straightaway here at Darlington Raceway. Oh, and right into the wall.
Well, you know, it doesn't always have to be pretty, as long as you're having fun doing it. As the 24 continues his celebration, we're going to step away from the track for just a brief moment, get things set up for your post-race interviews. So don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back.
Well, it is official. Darlington is in the books, and it is Matthew McMeekin finding his way to victory lane this evening here at Darlington. And what a race, what a way to wrap up one of the most historic racetracks on the schedule, the Darlington Raceway. Driver coming in third tonight here is a driver that has been consistent. He came in 2 wins out of the last 3 races, 12 starts, 11 top 5s. The points leader, KD Osmond, coming into this race. KD, man, good race tonight. You had to, let's say, earn this top 3. You got into the wall early in the very first run of the race. You had to rally back, but, man, come home third. Good points day for this machine.
Oh, yeah, definitely. You know, this track just is not my favorite. I don't like it very much. And, you know, I was coming in here expecting to run around 10th around the entire race, but, you know, these last 20 laps were probably about the luckiest 20 in my life.
Well, man, we seen that car. You had to go to the middle of the field, and you had to work your way up. Avoided that big crash down in turns 1 and 2. Just simply ducked to the apron and got around that. Tell us about that incident. I know that happened right in front of you, and that's really when you first dropped back to the middle of the field.
Yeah, I mean, I think a bunch of us got caught a lap down, and we were all single file on the restart, and, I don't know, I think things just got a little hairy of people not, braking early enough in the corner or something like that, and there was just kind of a big pile up there, and, you know, collected a lot of cars. I was really lucky to be able to sneak through that one, too.
Well, man, you come into this weekend 96 points ahead of Lance Yancey. Lance finishes 1 spot better than you. Still a good points lead. Not going to really give him much momentum as we leave here and head to Irwindale next week. You got to be kind of pleased with the points day here tonight.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Like I said, I was expecting to run around 10th, so, you know, coming out with a third and, you know, managing to keep that points lead the way it is, that's really good for me.
Well, Katie, tell us about the folks you want to thank this evening.
Yep, my sponsor, Ohio and Indiana Roofing Company, they're awesome. My family for watching. Thank you guys for broadcasting. Thank you guys for everyone in the league and all the admins. They do a lot of work, and it makes the league really great.
Well, Blackhawk Motorsports, Katie Osmond, number 88, for the 11th time in his 12 starts. He's inside of the top 5. And, Dave, I think you're setting with the guy right now that is the runner-up tonight. Had a really good car earlier in this race, hoping to have a good points night, but unfortunately that 88 happened to get right on his back bumper at the end. You're talking with Lance Yancey.
Yeah, catching up down by the track, down by pit wall there. Social distancing here for the interviews here with the 77 of Lance Yancey. Heck of a job, heck of a car out there, man. Couple more laps, and I think you may have had a shot there. How was the ride all night long?
Yeah, I needed a few more there. I got a good runoff too right there at the end. I thought if I could get to them in 3 and get good off 4, I might have something for them on that last lap, but the caution came out. Overall, car was amazing. Did not take off very good, but once you got midway through the run, it was a rocket ship. Really enjoyed the 77 machine tonight.
Well, looking at your fire suit here, Energizer, I think you may have ate a couple batteries here tonight for this one, because man, you were running a little bit better than what we've seen you over the past few weeks. Do you think you can use this finish as momentum as we wind down the next 7 races, these final few races? Do you think you can slowly close in on that 88 of Osmond in the points lead?
He's a long way away. I might have to help from him to be able to catch him, but some good luck on our side. But yeah, we've had a rough 3 or 4 weeks. The plate tracks didn't treat us well. Last 2 races at Martinsville and North Wilkesboro did not treat us good. We're just that's not my cup of tea. This is a good track for us. Surprisingly, as much as I hate driving it, it works out well for me. Going into the next couple races, Irwindale, not big on that track either, but we got 3 races at the end, them big tracks. I'm looking forward to those, looking forward to some speed.
All right, Lance. Well, once again, my man, congratulations. Good talking to you as always post-race. And before we let you go off and celebrate the finish here tonight. Would you like to give any shout outs, thank yous, love yous, thank anybody on the side of the car?
My wife, if she's watching, and these boys from Dirty Air Racing, we all help each other. The Bryan brothers and Travis and everybody. It's a good group of guys. Good to talk to. Good to spit stuff off each other. So we have a good time.
All right, well, there you have it. Some few final words from the driver finishing in the second spot here tonight. Lance Yancey, as you heard, agreeing here, Cody. Last few weeks haven't been very special for him, but enjoying the night here tonight, and I believe that has given you the time and opportunity to catch up with our race winner down there, the 24 of Matthew McMeekin.
Yeah, Dave, we are in victory lane, and a happy victory lane here at Darlington Raceway. Matthew McMeekin coming in only 3 starts this year in the Light Electric Company ARCA Menards K&N Series, about 5 career starts in this series, and he has found himself in victory lane. Matthew, man, this car, we talked about the last few restarts. I felt like once you took off on those restarts, you really had the car to beat. Tell us about this 24 Navy machine.
Yeah, had a pretty good machine underneath my feet tonight. The advantage was to have the lead at these short runs for these restarts. So yeah, it played into my hand.
Well, tell us about this race car throughout the night. We seen pit strategy. We seen some drivers kind of extend their runs. We seen some drivers, a couple of drivers actually went into the 30-plus range as far as pit stop goes. You kind of stayed around the top 10 most of the night. What was some of the pit strategy that you pulled out there?
Well, first of all, I want to apologize to Tyler. He was trying to get around me. I thought I gave him enough room. He bumped me into the wall a little bit, so which forced me to pit at the first caution. And why not take tires, change it up, switch it up, get my damage fixed. Got back out there, and unfortunately, I got into Dustin a little bit trying to make a pass, but the car didn't receive any damage. So I was on my own strategy against everybody else. And some yellows fell out my way, and yeah, I left pit road with no more tires to get and enough gas to make it to the end.
Well, man, it is hard to get to victory lane in this series. A lot of drivers have raced many more races than you have as far as not getting to victory lane. You got to be ecstatic. You have put yourself on the list as a winner here in this series.
Oh, absolutely. And number one, it's Darlington, right? It's one of the hardest tracks to get around. So, yeah, I've won this track once or twice before in the past, and I guess once you win it, you figure out how to get around it. So, yeah, I kind of love this track now.
Well, it is great to see a new face in victory lane, and we got to give you the opportunity. Matthew, I know you got some folks you want to thank, you want to congratulate for this big win.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate the sponsorship, NEXTGEN Light Electric Series, for putting this on, along with Line Creek Brewing Company. And of course, I got to thank my team from Dirty Air, which I'm a new addition to, along with Muddy Water Racing. So, in between those two teams and my teammates, I'm the new guy. So, I'm trying to make a name for myself.
Well, man, you made a name for yourself tonight. You took the hardest track, or at least one of the hardest tracks on the circuit, and you was able to tame the Lady in Black. Matthew, congratulations.
Cody, thank you very much. Appreciate the broadcasting of tonight, and looking forward to watching it after this.
There we go. Your winner tonight in the 24 Navy machine, Matthew McMeekin. He becomes the 11th winner of 14 races here in the Light Electric Company ARCA Menards K&N Series. And Dave, for somebody like that to go out there with less than 10 laps in his career in this series and to go to victory lane, that's got to make the front office kind of pleased to see some of these young guns making it happen.
Yeah, it's always good to see the new additions getting the job done. And the 24 of Matthew McMeekin, as you heard him say there, he didn't have any more tires to come and get. That was it. So his strategy was already made. He had no other way to go. And fortunately for himself, he was able to get the job done. Had his teammate finish just behind him. A few of the other drivers back at the Muddy Water Racing Stable, as well as Dirty Air, not having quite the finishes that maybe they should have, but nonetheless, still a great race night for that race team, as their newest addition, the 24 of Matthew McMeekin, goes to victory lane. So, Cody, once again, yet another winner. As you already said, 11 different winners here in 14 races. That is, that's kind of insane. And just let you know the type of talent that you're dealing with when you do come out here to the track with these drivers in this series.
Oh, most definitely, Dave. And you take a look. We're going to go to Irwindale next, which is going to be something totally different than anything we've seen this year. We'll go to Charlotte, Myrtle Beach, Phoenix, Texas, and Kansas. The door is wide open. I think each week we get introduced to somebody else that can be a diamond in this series. And tonight, shining bright under the bright lights here at Darlington, it was Matthew McMeekin taking this series by storm. And Dave, he didn't just win the race. He won the race in front of maybe some of the best in this series, Lance Yancey and Katie Osmond. That's the top two in points, and he beat them tonight here at Darlington. So it's saying a lot for the young drivers in this series, but just simply to say 11th different winner out of 14 races, you mentioned the word insane. It's crazy to see that happen compared to what we saw a year ago.
Absolutely, it is. And as you said there, the top two in the points finishing just behind you. So the 24 of Matthew McMeekin has got to be feeling good about himself. With that being said, producers pushing the buttons in my ear. So time to go ahead and run down your unofficial race results here tonight from Darlington Raceway in the Conserve, Georgia Pecan Amber Ale 113. Walking away with the race win, the 24 of Matthew McMeekin finishing in second. The 77 of Lance Yancey, Katie Osmond, your points leader, gonna finish in third. Tyler Hilton will walk away in fourth. Travis Smith rounding out your top five. The 49 of Troy Radford walking away in sixth. And in seventh, Brandon Medford. Brian Littleton, after some trouble, the 80's gonna finish in the 8th spot. Eric Blount gonna finish in ninth, and rounding out your top 10 here tonight, the 34 of Doug Wasaki.
Starting in the, or finishing rather, in the 11th spot. Not the way he wanted his night to go. Brian Mescal Jr. ran into some trouble late. He wraps it up in 11th. 12th place went to Dustin Ping. Chris Mefford rounds out 13th in his 84 machine. Chuck Mobley, last driver on the lead lap in his 76 car, he finishes 14th. First car one lap down, and the only car one lap down was Thomas Light in the 98. Damon Cox is 57 for Muddy Water Racing, came in 16th. Rick Reiner, 19, he was in the 17th spot. Cody Terry had some trouble throughout the night. He goes 18th. Melvin Young, 19th. First top 20, I think, for Melvin Young of the season. Brian Snare closes out the top 20.
Finishing in the 21st spot here tonight, the 86 of Travis Arthur finishing 22nd. The 4 of Michael Massengill. The 7 of Brian Kaufman gonna finish in 23rd. 24th will go to the 48 of Jimmy Hetrick. After early trouble here tonight, the 00 of Roy Hyde gonna walk away from the track in 25th. And having probably one of the worst runs of the season, or at least of his season here tonight, the 02 of Travis Pryor gonna finish in the 26th and final spot here tonight from Darlington Raceway. And with that being said, Cody, man, it's been a pleasure once again to call a race here tonight with you in the broadcast booth with me. And as always, look forward to seeing you next week when we head to Irwindale here in the RFC NEXTGEN Light Electric Company ARCA Menard Series. I want to give a big shout out to each and every one of you out there for watching us here on the Turn 3 Racing Network. With that being said, stay safe, stay loved. Until next time, we'll see you here on the Turn 3 Racing Network.